Welcome to school, guys. Are you ready for some building tips? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back here in a Bloxburg. A lot of you guys have been asking me for building tips and tricks. I'm not in the position to be giving such advice, but I think I know a few that should be helpful and that everyone should know about. I'm not a good builder, by the way. I'm just so you know. I mean, I have a few decent builds, but there's nothing really crazy about them. So building tip number 1, if you have a floating house, give it some support. So let's say you're building a house and you know, you want it to be like, you know, not on the ground necessarily, and then you're building a house and it's kind of just floating there and it's so beautiful and stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, I love this. I mean, I'm not here to judge whether or not you have a floating house. Think about it in a realistic sense. If you want to like get better at building, floating houses are probably not what you should be doing. I have a house right here that's literally floating on a pillar right here, but if you want it floating, make sure you have some like pillars underneath and stuff or something. Just give it some support. It needs that support. Unless your build is themed around magic or space or something, never let your house float. Maybe you don't even have to put pillars. You can build like a mountain underneath it. You can build a hill or something. I don't know. Just make sure it's just not floating. Building tip number 2, try not to make your houses too big. So a lot of people really love giant houses, and it's kind of understandable. You know, we all like, you know, having a nice big house. Some of us do, some of us don't. But I know a lot of people really like giant homes like this. Like, oh yay, just because you have a big home, you're like, oh, I have a mansion now. Ooh, I have a mansion. I used to be like this, by the way. A long time ago, I used to be like this. You're like, oh yes, look at this size of this house. It's my mansion. And then you really don't know what else to do with it. Try not to make your houses too big. I mean, if you're trying to make a mansion or a big house, at least try to plan it out a little bit. Yeah, it's probably not the best idea. I used to be like this, where I would make my house too big, and then my rooms are way too big. Like, someone would be like, oh, this is my bathroom. Yeah, this is my mansion's bathroom. Let's think about this really quickly here, okay? Your toilet's gonna be right here. You need a toilet, you need a tub or a shower, and you need a sink. We're gonna get those things right now. Is this really how you want your bathroom to be? Some of you are saying yes. Some of you saying yes. Please don't say yes. I may not be the best builder, but I know that you probably shouldn't be doing something like this. If you're gonna make a giant house, plan it a little bit. Try not to make your bathroom this huge, or try not to make your bedroom this huge. It's fun having a big house, but just because you have a big house doesn't mean it's really the most valuable or the best. Some of us think the bigger the house, the better, but that's not really the case sometimes. It's really all about like everything working and it's actually being designed well. Alrighty, so tip number 3, fill up your homes as much as you can, so that way there's not so many empty spots. Let's get an example right here. So this is one of my homes that I'm actually kind of proud of. It's not too bad, it's pretty decent. Notice how there's not too many empty spots in this house. I mean, there's enough room to walk around and stuff, but notice how majority of the room is like taken up by something. Like if you take this table out, look how kind of like empty the room kind of feels. Like, I guess this is okay, but I think it's just better off if you fill up your rooms as much as you can. That way it feels a lot more cozy, it feels more full, more decorated. See how in this kitchen there's not too many like emptiness going on, I guess. Is it empty? I don't think it's empty. I think it's filled up just enough. But there will be some houses where you'll see that some people, they don't put enough in it. Say this is the size of your living room. You have like your usual stuff. You have like a couch or two. Then you have your TV. Just say this is your living room. This is all somebody has in their living room. You could definitely do a lot more with it than just having couches and a TV. You could have like a bookshelf in here. You could have a coffee table right here. You could have, but just try your very best to fill up the room as much as possible. That doesn't really mean fill it up to where you can't walk anywhere. Just, it has to be enough where it's comfortable to walk around and it's also not too empty. So like this is the bedroom here. This is, I think, a good amount of stuff added in here. Like there's just so much you could do with the bedroom. And if you need help with this, you could probably just Google up some photos of like a living room or like a kitchen and stuff, and you can see how those are decorated. Short story for number 3 is to fill up your rooms as much as you can, so that way it feels fuller, more cozy and stuff. So tip number 4, this is also another obvious type of thing. Try not to make your houses just a boxy shape. I know I'm guilty of doing this at points. L shape is a shape. I'm guilty of doing a bunch of L-shaped houses because I don't know how to do anything else. When you're building houses, try not to make it too boxy or too squarish. Like if you want, you could just like add a couple of like things going in here, and then And then you could like, I don't know, just add a couple shapes back here and then just continue on. But basically adding shape to the house gives it more dimension and gives it more shape. This is probably not a good representation of that. I try not to make boxy houses. All right, so tip number 5, this is like an actual building tip. If you're gonna have a 2-story house and you're gonna be adding stairs, don't put your stairs up against the window. I feel like this has been talked about a lot before. Because this is a helpful building tips guide, you shouldn't be doing this. Where are your stairs going, huh? Where are your because some people will make 2-story houses and then their stairs will go up against the wall. And then you'd have to like turn to like, it works, but at the same time, it just doesn't really make sense. If you're gonna make a 2-story house, at least put the stairs where they will make sense. So it's so easy to fix this. It's just so easy not to do that. Anywhere, it could be anywhere, okay? As long as it's not up against the wall. Like this here is actually fine. Yeah, look at that. That makes a lot more sense. It's so simple not to do this when you could be doing this, putting it 1 square away from the wall instead of up against the wall. Appreciate this a lot more than what was going on before. So that's my helpful tip number 5. This is a crime. Helpful tip number 6, don't make seizure floorings and walls. Okay, most of you already know what this is about. I'm just gonna show it quickly right here. If you don't know what a seizure flooring is, basically it's when floors overlap and they're different colors or textures and they start flickering. That's what we call seizure flooring. This is the seizure flooring. See how it's flickering? The best way to avoid this, if you're going to be doing more than one floor in one room, at least make it the same color or the same texture or something. Or you can just manually make your floors, section your floors off. This is what I do all the time. Okay, helpful tip number 7. Make sure your floors are facing the same way. This kind of depends a lot, but I see some houses where their floors are just facing different directions and stuff. Like, look at this. This is a good example. See how this floor is going like up and down? Okay, this is horizontal. This is vertical. It's the easiest way to fix this. Where you pin your points will determine how your floor will look. So this time I'm starting from the top right and I'm going bottom right, bottom left, top left. See that? See that? Based on where you put your points, your floor will face a different direction. This way, you start from left, top right, bottom left. It'll face this way. So if you're gonna place a floor, at least place them all in the same way that you did. I think that's a helpful tip. I feel like some people may not really notice it, but it happens. So this is gonna be my last building tip for everybody. Okay, one part of this building tip, always have warm lighting. You basically just get a light and color it linen, and it's the perfect lighting you will ever have in your entire life. It's not too bright to blind everybody. It is not too dark. It's just the perfect amount of lighting you need in your house. I'm sure everyone's been using linen these days for lighting and colors in their house, but really, to be honest, use any color you're comfortable with. Use any color that you want, because these days most houses kind of look so similar. So try to make your house stand out and try to use a bunch of different textures as much as you can. My last building tip is just build something that you really like. Try not to base your house off of somebody else's things, because just be yourself. Be yourself. Build things based off of what you like and just have fun with it. Building shouldn't be taken too seriously. You're doing the right thing if you're having fun with building, okay? Try not to follow people's trends too much. You gotta be your own person. Do your own thing. Try not to follow the crowd too much. And I know a lot of you guys ask me for building tips, and as I always say, I'm not the best builder, but I try my best to improve and everything and try to get better and try to learn things, because I still have so much to learn. If you claim to be a bad builder, just kind of like experiment a lot. Look through a lot of Google images of how rooms look and try to understand why they put things there and whatnot, because I'm still in the process of doing that myself. So if you think you're a bad builder, just keep on trying your best. Don't give up. I think I've gotten so much better from where I started. If you go back to my first ever Bloxburg video to where like what I do now, it's kind of questionable, but I think I've gotten better. I'd have to say I did improve a little bit in my building. Have fun with it, go with the flow, and you'll probably notice some things that might be off and stuff. Okay, I feel like this video is terrible at me explaining things, but I hope I was helpful in some sort of way. Hopefully some of these tips helped you out in a way. Some of them were obvious. Try not to follow the crowd too much. Try to be your own builder. Try to find your own style that you really like. You guys are all amazing, talented. If you think you're a bad builder, you're not. Anyway guys, that is basically it. If you enjoyed this episode, you found it dumb, silly, interesting, or somewhat inspiring / motivating in a way, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. And if you guys want to continue watching any other Roblox videos on the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It is completely free. Thank you all for taking the time and idea to watch this. I'll talk to you in the next video. Stay tuned, stay awesome, have a wonderful day. Pita Bread signing out. Goodbye everybody.